Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Graves. Ms. Mason.
Here.
Ms. Wittelsbach.
Here.
Mr. Hartzell. Ms. Nichols.
Here.
Ms. O'Shea. And Ms. Stiles. 3 members present, Madam President.
Since we don't meet the requirement for a quorum, we can't really hold a public meeting for the purpose that was intended. So, Madam Mayor, do you have anything to say?
I do. And we'll move forward with tomorrow's meeting as is, but obviously it'll be a second reading since we can't do that today. I want to thank everyone present today at this meeting. Myself and council, we serve the people of this community, not only when it's convenient to us, but at all times. Today's meeting and tomorrow's were scheduled to eliminate delay of this vehicle purchase. The date and time set specifically to acknowledge that many residents and business owners cannot easily attend the weekday night meeting. Thus, they were set this important topic to be discussed during the day on a weekday and on a weekend. So we covered all the bases of what's convenient to our residents. The power to set a special meeting is written in our city charter. The charter says that these can be called within 12 hours notice. I provided 2 and 3 days respectively. I take the calling of such a meeting very seriously and would only do so when I feel it's in the public's welfare and their best interest. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does
Madam President,
Ms. Mason?
I would like to also offer that since tomorrow, if we have a quorum, it would be the second reading. On Monday, we have 2 committee meetings scheduled, and the committee I chair starts at 6:30. I would offer that we send out a notice and do whatever is needed to set the, if needed, third reading. For Monday night, I will forego my committee meeting. I feel that the special council meeting is more important in order to get these vehicles purchased as soon as possible so they can be delivered and on the streets with patrol as soon as possible. And so.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Madam President, may I say
Ms.
something?
Wittelsbach, yes.
I do have a question. I completely understand where you're coming from about the special meetings and how they are listed in our charter, and I completely agree. I had to drive 45 minutes to get here from work on my lunch break. Not everybody has those options, and we're able to have a good boss that was able to do that for them. But I do have this, is that at one of our committee meetings, Brian Fells came and pitched to us about the absolute disrepair of one of our ambulances. He mentioned that to us. And for me, that's just as important as our police cruisers. And yet I have not seen any legislation about the purchase of a new ambulance. And it just, we're having special meetings called, and I do understand where you're coming from on that, about the police cruisers, but yet I have not heard one peep from you guys about the ambulance. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind about that, okay? And I understand about Monday about being the third reading, so that's all I have to say on that.
Madam President,
Ms. Mason?
we have not received any specifications for the purchase of a new ambulance. That should come from the department head in order for us to design legislation to start the process of purchasing a new ambulance.
Thank you for the clarification, Maureen.
Yeah, it's not an omission or anything of that sort.
No, this is the
Right,
first I've
we are
heard of
not
any-
ignoring
any problems with ambulances.
We are not ignoring the request. We're waiting for the process to start, and the police cruisers have already been written up as far as designing the purchase of them. The police department did their due diligence in coming with the information of the vehicles that they need. And actually, this has been discussed for a year when you consider that it was part of the package for the police levy, the public meetings that we were having about the police levy. It was also submitted as a request at the safety committee meeting in June.
Well, then I ask you this, Mark, if you wouldn't mind, since we're talking about having this meeting on Monday at 6:30, right? Because you're,
That's correct.
okay. I ask that you have Brian Fells come to that meeting to bring everyone to light about what we're talking about the ambulances, and I completely understand about the third reading for the cruisers, but I think we also need to address that.
Excuse me, but I think that needs to be a separate meeting. Monday's meeting will be a special meeting specifically for the resolution about police vehicles.
Okay,
So
then I guess
if
it can wait.
Mr. Fells would like to come to another meeting, that would be fine.
Then
Or-
it can wait, then I guess.
Or also that same evening at 7 o'clock is the safety committee meeting. And if he has the proposal, the specifications, he can present them to the safety committee.
That seems appropriate.
Correct.
Okay, we'll ask him to come again then.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Chief Faust? Any of your officers?
I just have one comment. I'd like to thank the members of council and the mayor for calling the meeting, and those that showed. I do understand it was relatively short notice, and that people do have to work, but I do feel that there is a sense of urgency, and I do believe that North College Hill Police Association is going to address that here today, as I did at the last council meeting. I would also like to reiterate that I don't know, I know Chief Fell's Life Squad, he has had problems with it and reliability of it, but I don't know if there's a funding component for it. I do know there is a funding component for the police cars. And I would also like to acknowledge Councilwoman Mason for last meeting trying to get this through on an emergency measure, because I feel that this actually has impeded our ability to do our job, and I think the North College Hill Police Association will give you circumstances when they speak as to things that have came up in lieu of us not being able to have the cars in the age of the fleet. We have given council prior to the levy a document. It was a key component of that. Council had that information back on the 16th. There was a request by the police chief to the city administrator that it be passed on an emergency notice. And it is my opinion, if council had received that, which the email shows it went to all members of council, they had a due diligence to check with the police chief to find out why this is an emergency and why it can't be done in 3 readings. Based on my testimony, the last council meeting, I think I made it quite clear, and I think 37 years of professional in this field was ignored based on principles
I understand the charter does say there has to be 3 readings. That was said, I also understand that things can be passed in an emergency nature based on public health, safety, and welfare of the community. And I am telling our residents base this is a safety issue, and I feel very strongly that it should have been passed. I do appreciate members of council working with us to come in on a Saturday of their own time, and also if this facilitates on Monday to get this done and working with us. However, it is my opinion it should never have got to this part.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I would just like to remind everyone that the citizens of this community voted for the police levy last November. And I don't understand why what needs to be done isn't being done in line with that levy.
Madam President, since we do not have enough people here apparently to be able to do this, I move we adjourn.
Madam President, I do believe we have someone here from the association
I retract that.
to address council.
I apologize, Chief Faust, I retract that.
Whoever is, we're ready.
Okay.
First and foremost, I apologize for this very bright colored shirt. Just trying to bring out what can I have. My name is Aaron Koch. I'm the president of the North College Hill Police Association. And like I said, a lot of the stuff we have here, I'll definitely make it available, copies for you guys. What it is it's just certain pieces of paperwork, copies of correspondence back and forth that actually will go all the way back to roughly October of 2012, where it talked about levies or putting on a levy and the reasons why, which even from that moment, it spoke about the need for additional officers and cruisers themselves. So, first and foremost, like I said, I would like to really take this opportunity and thank each and every one of you for allowing me to even come up here and be able to speak. The purpose is the reason we are here today is that, especially myself, we watched the council meeting that occurred on July 7th, and I spoke with the chief. It became apparent that the members of the association felt like we needed to discuss or at least provide an opportunity to answer any questions or be able to shed, more information or shed light on the issue with the vehicles themselves. And in light of the city council meeting, we also realized that because it's a summer schedule, they only meet once a month. We, absolutely agreed that it was, imperative to move this forward, and we were trying to be, as always, transparent as we can to provide more information so that, to answer any questions that may arise from anyone. It's our understanding that according to the statute, certain ordinances and resolutions can be passed by declaring an emergency and waiving the second and third readings. By doing so, to affect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. Clearly, that's what's in reference to this resolution 19-2014. Facts about the cars. We currently have 6 marked police cruisers, 2 that are about 7 years old, 2 at 6 years old, and 2 that are approaching 2 years of age that we've had in possession. Just last week, we had 3 of these cars actually go out of service at one time within at least a 24 to 48-hour window. This reduced our ability to respond to the needs of the community. So with our current aging fleet, this has occurred on several occasions, most recently this past week and a half. Last Monday, we had, last Tuesday at approximately 3:15 p.m., we had a aggravated street robbery that occurred within the city of North College Hill. When that incident occurred, we actually didn't have enough cruisers available for the amount of officers that were on duty. One officer actually had to, when second shift officers came in, he had to actually relinquish his car to that officer to make it available for his patrol. That officer actually was on station when that came out, and because of that, it hindered having an adequate police response to assist with locating and trying to apprehend the suspect or suspects. We had, last night an officer came to work for third shift and found out that there was only one car available for third shift because second shift was tied up on multiple calls. We had several officers on the second shift. The officer came in and had to wait for a car to actually become available for him to even actually be able to, in essence, do his job. I mean, it's our basically, we refer to them as a mobile office. So, I mean, we work out of them quite a bit. We needed to do our job. With the addition of our much needed new officers, we're actually going to be hiring 3 officers very quickly. That's in the process right now. Now, the lack of police officers becomes critical. With the increasing amount of occasions which police cruisers are out of service due to the aging fleet, there are more occasions in which there are not enough cruisers for officers to use. While we typically only have 3 on duty at any one time, with the passing of the levy, we told the voters that we were adding personnel so that we could have 3 or more officers on duty on each and every shift. We are hiring 3 officers in the immediate future for this very purpose. This poses a problem with the availability of the police cruisers during shift changes. We have an intentional overlap of shifts during peak times to cover calls for service. This means we can have 6 officers or more on duty at a shift change any given day. Just last week, we had 2 robberies during this overlap period. One of these, we had 1 officer unable to attend because no cars were available. And this is actually before the new officers have even had the opportunity to start. If we do not order new cruisers at this time, we'll be forced to spend a lot of money from our limited maintenance budget on cars that may be disposed of shortly when we finally do get new cars. Matter of fact, one of the cars out of service has a transmission issue that is going to cost approximately $2,500 to fix or replace. This soon will deplete our maintenance budget, which is needed to maintain our aging fleet. Increased maintenance on our cars also has the unintended consequence of tying up our understaffed and overworked Public Works Department. Public Works Department is responsible for shuttling our cars back and forth for service and to complete minor maintenance or routine maintenance. Information that we provided to council and citizens, I guess, it dates back all the way to October of 2012. But more specifically here, to go actually the most recent, and kind of go backwards from there, on June 16th, our chief sent an email to the city administrator, Mark Fitzgerald, explaining the selection process and research conducted prior to the purchase of new police vehicles. We had set up a committee that went out to numerous agencies in Hamilton County to check, to speak with them, officers themselves that drive these vehicles, their maintenance department people that are in charge of ordering the cars themselves, to find which cars would best suit us and also be the most, cost effective. There were 3 officers that were informed in that committee, I being one of them. Now, like I said, the email that was sent out was on the 16th of June, explaining the process and research conducted for the purchase of new police vehicles. City administrator turned around and forwarded that email to all the council members. The research was conducted to find the most appropriate vehicle with the best price we could obtain to fulfill our needs. In mid-2013 up to the election day in November, same year, we held 5 community forums with the consent of council and participation with some of the council members to provide citizens with information regarding the levy. Now, some of the things that were listed in there, how much it would cost to purchase vehicles, what we needed the money for other equipment needs, the priority in which the money would be spent. So the first year in which we received levy funds, which is this current year, it was determined that the most urgent things needed were the